Hey everyone. So we wanted to take a few minutes to answer some of the questions that we received in the Career Spotlight session that we had with you last week. So for those of you who don't know, I'm Kim and I was part of the session, and Margaret's here joining me as well.
Hi everyone.
So Margaret, are you ready for these questions?
So ready.
So we'll kick off with an easy one. So we have a question here about how you got into your career. So during the Career Spotlight session, you mentioned that being part of Girls Get Set in school really helped you make some of the choices that you made around your career. But I wonder if you could share anything else that influenced you or guided you into that decision.
Yeah, of course. So I think what got me into Girls Get Set first off was joining the school STEM club. STEM club was loads of fun, and we made loads of cool stuff, boomerangs, egg parachutes, all that sort of stuff. And that's what led me into Girls Get Set initially. But after that, I had actually done work experience with a few other companies. And that was a really great way for me to learn more about engineering, find out what it really was, see what people did in the real world. And that then from work experience led me to do my apprenticeship, which is where I first started in the workplace. And so going out there and finding those work experience weeks myself and applying for different apprenticeships, that's really what guided me into working for GE, doing engineering and getting to the role I am today. So that was a really fun 5 years of my life. But I know that there are lots of different ways to get into working. And I know, Kim, you got into GE via a different route. So can you tell us a bit more about how you got into GE and about your first job in STEM, which is one of the questions that we had for you?
Sure. So you're right. I kind of did the graduate route, and I got my first proper job, let's call it, as a system safety engineer as part of GE. So I was responsible for proving that our avionics equipment was safe, or it was safe enough to fly. It had a low enough probability of failure. So I specialize in cockpit displays and in UK military helicopters. And the coolest part of like my job was actually seeing what we built like take off and fly. And that was awesome. And that was honestly the best part of being an engineer. And we actually have a question around that. So Margaret, tell us, what's your favorite thing about being an engineer?
So I think I've definitely got to agree with you about working on products, seeing it out there in the real world and it affecting other people's lives. But for me, one other key thing is problem solving. So an engineer is a problem solver, right? We get given a problem, whatever it is. For me, it was in aviation. That's the sector that I'm working in. But whether it's engineering for buildings, so civil engineering, or whatever it may be, something as simple as you go to a concert, a microphone doesn't work. It's probably an engineer that will go up there, figure out what's happening in the electronics. So like problem solving, I think, is definitely one of my favorite things about being an engineer. And it's something that I do every day in my role. And something that I think I had a lot of time and fun doing when I was in school as well. So, solving Rubik's Cubes, Sudoku puzzles, riddles, all that sort of stuff. I absolutely loved it. So for you, Kim, what advice would you give a young person who wants to be an engineer?
Great question. And I think we talked a bit about this in the career spotlight as well. But one thing I would say to all the girls that are listening, you're really lucky in that you have this unique opportunity with Girls Get Set to go and like speak to real life engineers and figure out what their job is and understand their career paths. And that's a real unique opportunity. So my advice would be to take what you can from Girls Get Set, seek those opportunities, and do everything that Girls Get Set has to offer, because there's some really cool stuff as part of the scheme. And we actually had a question around whether Girls Get Set can create some of those opportunities to help people get into a STEM career. And it would be pretty cool, actually, Margaret, talk about what Girls Get Set has to offer, and maybe the residential course as well, because that's really unique, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So Girls Get Set, as you might have experienced in our first event, you get a huge number of people, all in not just engineering, but other STEM roles as well. So definitely take the opportunity to ask them questions like you have done for me and Kim, and we'll definitely get back to you with answers for all of them, whether that's during the event or after the event, like now. But as well as all the other events for the rest of the program we have this year, both virtual and in person, we are very happy that we're sponsoring some places onto a Girls into Engineering course that's run by the Small Peace Trust. So that's a course for students, girls that are aged 12 to 14. There's going to be about 100 students that take part in this course, and you all get together for about 4 days working together on different engineering challenges. They'll be there speakers from different companies, not just the companies that are sponsored and running activities. You'll be able to meet loads of other girls that are there with the same interests as you. And for you students that are participating in the Girls Get Set scheme, we do have 10 sponsored places onto that course that's up for grabs. So take part in Girls Get Set this year. Do the best that you can do. We will be asking your teachers who they think is most deserving of these spaces, because there are only 10 spaces that we have sponsored, and there are 150 odd students taking part in Girls Get Set this year. So it's going to be quite competitive, but that's definitely one of the highlights of the Girls Get Set course. And you don't have to pay any for it because it's all funded by Girls Get Set. So that's what we have on offer for Girls Get Set this year. Girls Get Set has been running for 10, 12 years now. So we had a couple of questions around the goals for Girls Get Set and in what countries Girls Get Set is running in. So could you answer that, Kim?
Yeah, sure. So great question, because I love these questions, because then it shows not only are you engaged in like what's going on, but you actually want to understand like why we're doing what we're doing and what we're trying to do with it. So as Margaret says, it's been running for 12 years now. We actually had our 10-year anniversary, well, 2 years ago, right? And we did a bit of a video, didn't we, back then? And we talked a bit about some of the goals of Girls Get Set and what we wanted to do with it. So for those of you that are interested, check out that video. It's on the YouTube, and there's loads of info on there. But for me, when we talked about that, there were kind of two main goals. One of them was to get more and more girls on the scheme, and we're really doing that this year with this kind of hybrid kind of working, this hybrid way of working, virtual and in person. So that was kind of one goal. And then the other goal was kind of to the point around the country. So right now, Girls Get Set is only operating within the UK. And one of the goals is that we want to expand that outside of the UK. We know that there's a wider problem than just in the UK, but we need to kind of spend some time to really understand what that problem is. So, you know, young students in UK schools need different support or different inspiration or guidance than, say, a student in a US school, for example. So the appetite's definitely there across the globe. It's just, you know, how do we structure it so it really works for the students within that country and within that culture? So yeah, that's kind of the kind of highlights of some of the goals that we had on there. And we had a question, actually it was kind of an interesting one around the future of STEM. And that's, I think, what Girls Get Set is trying to emulate, right? We're moving into this this world where we have a hybrid working environment where we do stuff online, we meet in person. And I think Girls Get Set's really got to try and mirror that, because that's the future working space for all of you that are kind of part of the scheme right now. So, you know, in answer to that question around whether STEM's online, I think there's got to be a bit of a hybrid between the two, right? Because that's what we're doing in real life. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how that, you know, goes forward as we get younger people into the organizations that we're working in right now and how that changes. So there's another question that I wanted us to talk about. So it was around, like, it was an interesting question. So it was around science as a lifelong job. So the question was whether more people would want to do science as a lifelong job. So Margaret, I don't know if you can share some of your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think what's really great about science, it's ever evolving, it's ever changing. If you think back 10 years, there are jobs that exist now that didn't exist then. And I'm sure in 5-10 years time, when it gets to you guys finishing school, going to university, doing an apprenticeship, whatever you choose, there'll be jobs then that don't exist now, and all of them could sound amazing. Like, for example, we might get space travel by then, so we'd need space astronauts that are like tour guides to the moon or to Mars, or like advertisers. And there are so many jobs, especially in the STEM and science area, that will exist in your future that don't exist now. So I think definitely there'll be more people that would be interested in STEM, because just thinking about it sounds cool. Like, wouldn't you want to be like a drone manager and fly like armies of drones around the world? Like, who wouldn't want to do that? So yeah, definitely I think more people would want to go into STEM, and schemes like Girls Get Set share with you what opportunities there are, what jobs there are for you to find out more about it, to tell your friends and get more and more people excited about it.
And I actually heard, I don't know if it's true, but I heard an interesting fact like about a week ago that apparently the person that's going to live to 150 has already been born. So like the advances that we're going to need to make in like the medical field to prolong life is so, it's going to be incredible, right? Considering now, I don't know how old the oldest person is right now, but they're not 150. So the challenges are going to be so different. It's going to be really fun. So we can't just answer these questions. We've got to answer some fun ones. So we had one around favorite food. Margaret, what's your favorite food?
I've got to say a lasagna. I love a good lasagna.
Good choice. Is it bad that mine's Chinese takeaway? Well, I mean, being in the US right now, I'm missing like fish and chips and bangers and mash. Like, I'm missing that. So that's becoming my favorite food, definitely. There's another one. Have you ever met a celeb?
Oh, I've been to the palace before and seen the Queen in the distance. I've never met her in person. I did do, when I got my Gold Duke of Edinburgh award, they always do like a presentation at the palace. So I met Princess Beatrice, because they always have a member of the royal family come and meet every person. So I did meet her. I commented on her shoes because she had really fabulous shoes on. They had like little stars on them. They looked so comfy. But yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, well, I don't have anything that is anywhere near as cool as that, celeb-wise. Oh, damn it. Oh, I'm well jealous. I want to meet the Queen and Princess Beatrice. Well,
we can't meet the Queen anymore, but
well, there is that. Anyway, so all right, cool. So thank you everyone for your questions. Hopefully we answered a lot of the kind of burning questions that you had for us, and thank you for asking them, because it's really fun to kind of hear about what you're thinking about, what you want to know more about. So thank you for that. We did mention a couple of videos in when we were talking, and all the links are going to be kind of below this in the comments. We also have a couple of other videos. So we have some videos from Alex. So Alex also did a session on the event, so he answered some of your questions. So his video is going to be on there, so go check that out. We've got some other videos from some of my Baker Hughes colleagues. They've kind of come together to try and talk a bit about STEM around the world, because you asked the question around, does STEM exist around the world? So we've got some of our colleagues together to try and show that. So check that out. Also, we have an Instagram, so please go ahead if you've got access to Instagram. Please go and like and follow the page, and you'll see loads of content from us and the team about what we've got coming up for you in Girls Get Set. So thanks for listening, and looking forward to seeing you at the next project or event coming soon.
Bye.
Bye.